Now, is there such thing as an analytics overload?
Well,
Is there too much analytics? Could there ever be that much?
I think there's, we always hear about, paralysis from the data, right? And data paralysis. So I think that does happen, but at the end of the day, we don't run across too many customers who say, I'd like to have less data, I'd like to save less data, and I'd like to use less data. So I think the paralysis comes down to, in many cases, companies haven't found the right people to work in their organization, or they have a lot of projects and they don't have enough people to work on them. And so how do we look at that data? And that's really where what we're releasing next week in the Coremetrics Analytics 2010 allows you to kind of see what types of things you should be looking at. So one piece that I didn't mention I should have is what we call programmatic insights. So our application actually reads the data and says, here's the things that we noticed automatically within the data. So if you'd like to bring more people to fill out a form to open a checking account, here's the different channels they're coming from. They're coming from your YouTube channel and your Twitter channel. And here's the places they're not coming from where they convert the very least. So you should probably stop investments in those areas.
Very cool.
So programmatic insights both looks at the data, the trends of the data, and also what things are statistically relevant and those that aren't statistically relevant. So things that are inside the band that you would normally see, probably not important to look at, even though the data is very variable like this. But when you get a big spike, that's the anomaly you should look at. Right. And our system will pick out and say, here was this issue, or here was this opportunity, and here's the things that led to it, so you should look closer there. So to your point, data overload can occur, especially in an industry where it's still young. There's not a huge amount of people that know about this or are very experienced at it, and so we're trying to provide that experience built into the application for our customers. I think the next big frontier is going to be media mix modeling, and that's really coming up with the models of here's where we should place the next dollar. And I think a lot of marketers are trying to figure that out today, is that as we bring money from traditional channels, TV, newspaper, call it radio, and we're investing in the web, where should we put it that we get the biggest bang for our buck? And it's one that agencies are struggling with to say, hey, here's how we can help you, and also how do we have the measurements to show these things really drive incremental value on the web. And for somebody like our clients here in the city, and somebody like Macy's, theirs is, it isn't just about the web. In fact, Terry Lundgren, who's the CEO of Macy's, has said, look, we know that for those customers that spend on the web, they also come into our stores and spend $5.77 more. Mm-hmm. So for every dollar they spend on the web, they're spending $5.77 more in the stores. So for us, the challenge is, where should we place our marketing so that we can get the most value out of those marketing dollars that we have, and we can also reach the customers with the right products? Because for somebody like Macy's, as they've talked about, is we don't need more customers right now. What we need to do is better service our customers, because we have a lot of great products. We have a lot of stores. We have 800 stores across the U.S. And for us, it's about making sure that everybody knows what are all the special things that Macy's can do for you every day. And so that's one of the areas where really understanding the media mix model is going to become imperative as they move forward.
And what kind of time period do you see? Do you think, like, by the end of this year, that's going to come to the forefront?
I'm starting to see some of the clients really pick that up and say, we want to understand the media mix that we're looking at and where we should make the investments. I think it's something that, this year will be the year of Facebook and mobile. It's just not, I don't see anybody getting past that. They're trying to figure out how should we invest? Should we make a iPhone app? Should we make an iPad app? Should we make it just our site more accessible for mobile devices? And the iPad kind of crosses that because it's not too small and it's not too big, and it can do a lot of different things.
Just right.
Yeah, it's just right. It's the Goldilocks of devices.
That's what I'll call it from now on. Goldilocks.
And so you have that, and then you have Facebook. For the latter half of this year, I think everybody's trying to figure out. There's a huge race to this. This isn't the Second Life phenomenon. The fact is you have 400 million people or more that are in that audience. They're showing that they'll interact with a brand. You can have a very rich experience. It doesn't cost a tremendous amount to be there, but it costs a lot if you're not there in the right way.
Right.
And so, that's really, I think this year will be those two. And then as we turn the year, you'll start to see people talking about the dollars have gotten so big in online. We need to understand how the mix is working out for us.
So it's right now just all about get it out. we got to be here, we got to be here, we got to be here.
Yeah, I think it's being in those channels, and for us, we've invested ahead of the curve, and I think as we get here at the end of the year and we have, hey, here's the way in which we're going to help you with your media mix modeling and your marketing attribution, we'll be in a place where kind of the pioneers and the folks that are on the leading edge will drive the market forward, and then those folks that always follow a little bit later will be able to see, here's the well-worn path, we know where we need to go, and we think we'll be really well positioned at that point.
Thanks.